What's up guys, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how we're actively building Killer Chaos OS to crush operational chaos within businesses. So this is what I'm starting right now to basically build better systems and to understand how we're building and document it for the future so that we can build better feedback loops, and I can just review these videos so that we understand, hey, this is how we're building right now and this is how we're going to be building into the future. And why this matters for me is because we want to show our builds live and raw to basically show you how we're building out what we're building out, and essentially to solve big messy problems in terms of building infrastructure and back-end systems, and also to build a crew that gets what we're building and the vision that we want to have for what it is that we're building for. And just an example of what it is that we're building, we have over here the Killer Chaos example that we have over here, where we have chaos prevention rates, where we have real-time savings, operational efficiency, and predictive analysis, which this basically is aimed at building the backend infrastructure and systems within businesses to help them understand their key metrics better and use data to power how they navigate into the future in terms of how they are building. So what this solution basically looks like when we go through it is, number one, I've broken it down into 5 different steps that we can follow. And just to start off with the first one, which is uncover, where we basically dig up the chaos. What it is we basically pinpoint the operational chaos we're targeting for our builds, because we're not just gonna build for multiple different purposes. We need to analyze what are the 3 main things that we are building for, and what are the 3 things that are causing the most pain within your business. And the hidden chaos is the root of the losses, because sometimes you may not understand, hey, these are the things that are preventing you from scale. And I've seen it multiple times where we come in and we say, hey, this is causing your business bottlenecks, and they don't even know it. They don't know what is going on in terms of how their key metrics are going, how their data is flowing, and what is actually preventing them from growing within their systems, because they simply don't have these back end systems or infrastructures per se on the back end that allows them to understand and navigate how to basically build their business to be the best it possibly can be. And essentially here is where hidden chaos, where we uncover what we need to uncover within the business. So we go through a rigorous process where we basically take all the metrics and understand the business at its core to basically see how we can uncover what is hidden. And then once we do that, we basically do this through a simple process where we basically probe pain points, where we analyze where ops breaks. Is it vendors? Is it crews? Is it budget? Where is it causing the most pain within your business? And then we need to quantify the damage, where we basically measure the time losses and prioritize fixes. So essentially what this is basically we need to quantify how much damage it's having in your business now and also into the future, because if you don't know how much damage it's having into the future, how can you best make plans or build a solution around that if you're not understanding how the impact is building out? So we go through a process of showing you, hey, if you don't have the system within what we're building out, and we super tailor it to make sure that we solely understand how your business works, and then we basically quantify the time and cash uh the time and cash implications of that, and then we basically build. So then we basically then lock in targets where we zero in on the chaos that we need to tackle first, because like the saying goes, a jack of all trades is a master of none. We need to focus same principle in basically understanding what are the things that we need to master in order to bring your business the most amount of impact. So we're not going to target all the different aspects that we may think are important. We need to target what we need to do, and through this we basically go through a process where we basically map out the different problems and solutions that are possible, and then we basically see and we basically quantify which ones are having the most impact, and then we build from that. So essentially, a real world insight that we would have is we would basically map a planner's vendor chaos in the Google Doc, for example, and then we basically see, hey, this is resulting to 15 hours a week loss, and that loss is resulting in 1.5k a month, and the target will basically be messy emails. So we go through the process of saying, hey, this is the email process is the most, but is the reason why you're not able to scale, because you're spending 15 hours a week on emails when you should not be doing that, and spending it more on how you basically building your business. And then we build systems and a solution around that is super tailored to you by understanding your business metrics, and then we basically come in and we build that for you. And for me, what I like to just end off with is to basically ask a question, because questions for me are the number one thing that helps you understand, and it's just asking the right question that goes a long way, not only for me but also for the team, for the team when we're building out things. And then, for example, what this question will be that you may ask for yourself in the first part would basically be, what ops challenges is quietly draining your business, and how much is it costing you right now, by quantifying it. And we can see different elements that help you understand, hey, this is where your business is lacking, and this is what we could do to improve. And then we move on to the second one, where we basically design, where we blueprint the fix. What it is basically we create custom solutions to crush the chaos we have uncovered. And why this matters is because general solutions don't cut it. Our custom designs will solve the real issues. If you simply want to use a third-party tool, yes, you may use it for simple tasks and things like that, but the core business problems that you have are unique to you, and we understand that, and that's why we are actively building that for the clients that we have in our clientele. And how it works is we basically sketch solutions, we basically plan dashboards, automations, or trackers. What needs to be built out, we sketch it as soon as possible, so that we have an understanding as well as how it's going to look when we map, after mapping it out. And then we focus on aligning our goals, which then we say, hey, what if your goal is saving 50k, cutting hours, or scaling ops? Whatever your goal is, we basically then say, hey, we're going to blueprint this fix with that key main objective in mind, and then we build the solution with that in mind. And essentially that then allows us to plan tight, with every feature being built to drive impact, because it makes no sense if we're building solutions but they ultimately don't have a 2, 5, 10x result within your business, and don't allow you to save time and build better, and allow you to build a better business. And with that, we have a real world insight where we would basically sketch a Figma dashboard, vendors, deadlines, reminders, that ultimately saves you 10 hours a week, which results in 1k a month in loss. So we basically quantify, and then we basically say, hey, this is how it's gonna look, and then we go through a feedback loop of saying, hey, are we actively solving the right problems, or are we creating the right solution for this by asking those questions. And then I like to end off, like I said, with a question, which is, what's one chaos fix your business needs, and what would the perfect solution look like? If you were to design the perfect solution for the challenges or problems that you have right now, what would it look like? And this also just takes of you not limiting yourself to say, hey, this might not be possible. Just say, hey, this is what would solve all our ills. And then from there, you start to ask the questions of how can we actually build the solution. And that's one thing that I like to take into consideration by just asking the right questions, because asking the right questions goes a long way. And then with that, we basically craft, where we build it lean, and we construct your chaos killer OS system fast and focused. So the main key thing here is to just get an MVP out, because speed and precision delivers results. Our builds are aimed at hitting quick, so that we can test to see, hey, we have the proof of concept, this works, and we can roll out with this. Are we actively solving the right problem, or are we just seeing something that may not be a big of an issue, and later down the line we say, hey, we built this for nothing? We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that what we're building is aimed at driving results and essentially gaining as much data in terms of what we're building for. And for example, how it works is we essentially pick tools where we basically use third-party solutions or custom code. Most of the time, what we do is we build custom code and then we build the MVP, like I said, which the core features go live in weeks, not months, and then we test early to ensure it tackles chaos from the start, what your business needs are, and we're not just targeting things that are not there. That's why we go through this rigorous process of truly understanding what your business needs and how we can solve the three main problems that ultimately funnel down into the rest of your business infrastructure. And with that, we can see a real world insight where we would basically craft an MVP. This is not a tailored solution, where we would say we would craft an Airtable tracker in 24 hours, vendors alerts, which would ultimately lead 5 hours a week, and ultimately leads to $500 within your business a month. It just basically depends on how we build it out. But essentially, if we were doing a custom code, we would basically build out an MVP, and then we'll basically say, hey, this is what we're building out. How is it responding? Is it working? And then we basically tailor your solution to that. And the question that I like to end off with is, what's one chaos problem you could solve with a lean system? Why wait to build it? Because if you build a lean system and you're able to test it right away, you can see, hey, this is working and we're solving the right problems with data backed insights, or we're not solving the right problem. And this allows you, once you have an MVP or a system that is built fast in terms of not the actual build but the MVP, you're able to see, hey, this is actually working, this is having a result that is building our business to function better. And just by seeing that small bit of data, you'll have more confidence, or we'll have more confidence in building out the final end product, which basically allows us to say, hey, we're building this out from the MVP and these are the results that we're getting. Imagine how that would look like if we now roll out the full application or the full solution that we have built out. And then from there, we basically prove, we show the wins, what it is, we test and validate our systems to confirm the amount of impact that they have. And why this matters is we're all about results, not promises. Proof drives our work. So just having that proof of concept and making sure that it does work is the most important thing. And how it works is we run trial runs, we basically stress test systems under real operational conditions, measure impact, we track dollars saved, hours cost, and chaos killed, because the number one thing is to understand how the metrics are playing in the overall infrastructure of your business. And with that, we tweak fast, we find the flaws within the system, and then we maximize for results. So we'll basically, in this real world insight, we'll basically test our prototype. How many hours does it save? For example, it saves 7.5 hours a week, then that results into $750 a month. Just the proof of concept is there. That proves that the proof of concept is there, and that allows us to now build with data-backed insights. And then the question that I'd ask over here is, what results would convince you that the system works, and how would $50,000 save change your business? So one of the things that we also take into consideration is asking the questions of what are the things that would result in you having the confidence that this system works. And that funnels back into what I was saying in the beginning of having those three main bottlenecks within your business, and then saying, hey, if we're able to solve these three, then why can't we solve other problems? And this is why having confidence in terms of what we're building is super important. And that's why we go through that rigorous process of just basically identifying and just making sure that we're testing and we're building the right system for your business or for the business that we're working with. And then for this, we basically amplify, which is we scale the edge. What it is we basically expand our systems to drive growth, chaos free. And why this matters is because we're killing chaos one step at a time, and scaling wins is our end game. So this isn't just a once and done. We take processes and we take steps that ensure that we're building the right thing. And this is a long-term game. We're not just building just for now, because in a year or two, you will need this system to act as a core instrument in terms of how you're building and how your infrastructure is built. And for this, how it works is we basically stack systems. We add lead, payment, ops layers. So we do this in stages. So we just don't roll out every single thing out at once, because not everything else is gonna all function in once, and we might find out if we roll everything out at once that it was not even necessary, because we didn't understand, or we didn't take the process in terms of understanding what was the core functionalities that we needed at that specific time. For example, let's say we roll out a system and you're at 550 to 100k, but that system is not for that specific level of scale. Yes, we can build it out again, but then we would have to retweak it into the future once you reach, say, $1 million plus per year. And for this, we basically track wins, where we monitor growth and we refine live. So we're constantly refining the system, understanding where the data is coming from and how we're actively building for this. And we go big, we aim to scale to $1 million wedding ops, or $50 million in aviation systems. This is the goal that we're having to basically help the businesses that we're working with. And also, a real world insight is we would scale with Tally, so which adds one event per month, which ultimately leads to 5k with $5,000. And then that ultimately is how the Chaos OS system grows within your business. And then one final question to lead this off is, how big could your business grow without Chaos, and what's the one system that would get you there? And like I said, we're still in the trenches building this out, but I know that into the future, we're going to make this system work in terms of for specific businesses, and we're just going to scale it as much as we possibly can. And for now, this is what we are actively building at the moment. And I am super excited to how we're going to be building the next generation of infrastructures for businesses with this specific frameworks in mind, and just allowing scale within solving problems in terms of chaos. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.